The first bomb hit the first axle. The second hit the cab, entering my driver's left kidney, exiting his right lung, killing him instantly. I was standing, hence why most of the damage slash injuries was to my legs. The projectile continued its course of destruction, carving out my TC's left ear, eye, and eye socket. Pretty much took out his left upper side of his face. My driver held the steering wheel with a depth grip, like always. And him doing so, we made it across the bridge before we flipped. Bomb number 3 hit the second axle. Bomb number 4 hit the part of the truck and the bed. Bomb number 5 hit the third axle. All bombs exploded at the same time. As the truck flipped over, my TC was tossed from the truck. He was able to unhook my strap, so I tumbled inside the cab, as was our training. As the truck rolled over, it landed on top of my legs. When I came to, there was a set of legs hanging upside down beside me. I thought they were mine, but they were just the bottom half of my driver.
Been diagnosed with PTSD after my second tour overseas. When I was in combat, I had severe flashbacks from my past. I also had suffered from slight hearing loss and started to drink really bad to not have the flashbacks. Almost every sound or motion really kept me on my toes.
Here is my story. I'm a 94-year-old veteran with no hearing and difficulty with speech. I served since I was 18 years old, went to 2 wars. On the last war was when I got shell shock. From all the shooting, tanks, and just in general combat was enough for me to lose it. On one of the missions, things turned for the worst. I was taken captive, which turned to the worst. I was tortured because I wouldn't tell them why I was there. My family was threatened. I thought I was a goner.
I've had friends that deployed, and they became addicts, normally to coke, because they need an upper to try to match the high of the adrenaline rush of war. It's hard to match the high of being shot at. It's impossible to describe unless you've lived it. And I have friends that went to the VA and they refused him. And I've had many friends fail to adjust to civilian life that took their own life. I got lucky.
And I let the alcohol take over my life for about 3 years. I've had friends that have used harder drugs, like overdosing on heroin, prescription drugs, and a really popular one that's cocaine.
I was hooked on cocaine, alcohol, and loved me a good old cigar. The Army said smoking tobacco would help with the shell shock. I became a regular user at all 3 things. I soon got my wife addicted as well. The Army was not aware of the cocaine use at the time. They would have kicked me out. By 1995 was when my life started to spiral down. I had a heart attack while overdosing. By then, I lost most contact with my kids and had no idea where my wife was.
I got lucky. I sought out my own medical treatment. I've done years of therapy to help my mind adjust. I did EMDR, which you hold 2 pulsating things, one in each hand, and they flash you with like strobe lights is the best way to describe it, and they reprogram your memories. So your bad memories, so let's say the explosion, they vibrate your hand to pull the memory out, and they vibrate your hand on the other side to reprogram a good memory versus getting blown up that day, all the good memories I had in Iraq. I took countless sleeping pills to try to adjust my PTSD. Most of them turned me into zombies. So I stopped doing medication for my psych. The best thing I've seen work for me is me time. I go out in the woods, go on hikes, just stay busy. If you don't stay busy, you're a victim to yourself. You get in your own head and you will self-sabotage to make yourself feel, I guess is the best way. But now I figured out what works for me. Like I said, I do my treatment at the VA. They do all my medical stuff. I deal with my own psych side. I am now a husband, a successful husband. I'm a father to a 5-month-old beautiful little girl. I'm college educated. I have an associate's, and I need 2 more classes to have my bachelor's. I'm a small business owner. I'm a pretty good functional member of society now. But like I said, I got blown up in 2006, and here it is going to be 2018. 12 years. And I just flew right by.
Well, to receive the treatment, it took me almost 2 years. After I got in trouble with my drinking, I brought up the issue at my yearly checkup that I have. The VA said there was no really issue, just gave the side effects of drinking too much. They also did not bring up the severity of my PTSD. I had to make the decision to go to the AA meetings. This did not also do anything but make me want to drink more. About 6 months later, I lost my job and my family distanced themselves. I then went back to the VA. Since you have to have a doctor's state that you need to go back further for help before they'll help you, I finally got the doctor, learned how hard things are going for me. They then recommend me to therapy. I couldn't get an appointment until about 2 months away. I finally started therapy, but the process was really long. I could only go once a week and still had to pay about $30 for an hour of discussion. I always felt rushed. I never really felt that they would listen to me. The therapist, after our 3rd session, prescribed me an anti-anxiety medication. That's really when I started to mix both prescription and alcohol together. I knew it was really bad, but I felt like I couldn't be normal then. My husband gave me the alternative to get sober or we'll be getting a divorce. I tried to get into a rehab program through the VA, and I was told I didn't qualify. It was about a few months later, that's when I really lost everything. The VA and my therapist discussed further help options for me after I was placed on a wait list to get into the rehab inpatient center. The VA would pay about half, and I was expected to pay the rest of it out of pocket. Eventually, I got the help I needed, but majority of the time it was not from the VA.
We were trying to go through the VA, but they said the heart attack was from the cocaine and I should quit to get better. Well, I tried and failed again. After my second heart attack, the VA claimed I was unfit to go home. I was pushed into assisted living, not by choice. They also threw me around 4 different locations. That's when my withdrawal started. At the time, I was 68 years old. They titled me as combative. No one would work with me. They never understood or would listen to what was happening. My side tried to tell them. Another thing was my son had to pay $1,000 a month for me to live in these homes. That shouldn't be the case. The VA doctors wouldn't help me either with trying to gain my strength after my heart attack. I was weak. That's when I lost all my hearing and speech. My son had to teach me how to use ASL or write down what I needed.
There should be immediate hand-on work to help the veterans or anyone really to come back from overseas to have the therapy sessions for the new adjustments. There's a huge and hard switch from combat to civilized living. A lot of my friends, still after 4 years, have had no help from the adjustments. I've lost about 3 friends in the 2 years from SUD along with PTSD that committed suicide.
People should learn to listen and work with people and never assume. I spoke up and no one listened.